Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Now I welcome you to another B-share of a revelation that's about to shake the foundations of everything you thought you knew about your ancestry. Now in this video, a sister has come forward with scientific genetic evidence that's set to rewrite the history books and silence the Pan-African narrative once and for all. Now, with a deep look into the DNA of ancient Egyptians, she's uncovered a stunning truth that's been hiding in plain sight. By examining the DNA of mummies in the Cairo Museum, she's discovered that the ancient Kemetic people had a unique genetic profile that's been largely overlooked by mainstream historians. Now, the DNA results are nothing short of astonishing. With haplogroups R1b and G2a and mtDNA haplogroups H and K, it's clear that the ancient Egyptians were a distinct people with a rich genetic heritage. But Pharaoh Ramses, one of the most famous pharaohs of all time, had a DNA profile that's identical to that of many called African Americans today, E1B1A1. So what does this mean? Now, it means that the notion of modern-day Africa being the motherland of humanity is a myth that's been perpetuated by flawed assumptions and a lack of scientific evidence. Now, according to the sister's research, she suggests that the people with ancient Kemetic DNA are actually found in America, not Africa. It's a revelation that's set to spark a heated debate and challenge everything we thought we knew about our ancestral heritage. So with that said, let's take a look at her video. I will be right back, and when I do, I share more information on this.
Indigenous fam, I have another good one. This one has scientific genetic evidence proving that we are indigenous to the Americas. Go ahead and use this video to shut up those Pan-Africanists. Let's examine the DNA of those who are living in modern-day Egypt, which they call ancient Egypt. I mean, the Museum of Cairo is there after all, which explores the history of the ancient Kemetic people. It has mummies in it. There's Afro pics. There's all sorts of things in that museum. Yes, I've been there to visit. Take a look at these folks. Now, take a look at this right here. It clearly states that this is their DNA. R1b, G2a, and mtDNA haplogroups H and K. You all have heard of Ramses, is that correct? The guy from the Bible? Yes, him. Well, let's take a look at what his DNA is. Pharaoh Ramses' DNA is E1B1A-M2. Who else in the world has that same DNA? Oh, is it the so-called African Americans that has the same DNA as Pharaoh Ramses? Oh my goodness. Didn't they brainwash us to believe that modern day Africa is the motherland? So then why are all the people with the ancient Kemetic DNA in America if modern day Africa is the motherland? Somebody help me. Help me. Help a sister out. Someone, please explain to me why the majority of so-called African Americans in America has the E1B1A. People in Africa with the same DNA as the so-called African Americans are the Bemileke, the Ewe, the Ga, the Yoruba, and you see the list right here of all the different people with the E1B1A. Those with the E1B1B haplogroup would be those in the Horn of Africa, in Ethiopia, Somalia, Egypt, and all those, which proves that not all people in Africa are African. We're not all the same people, all so-called black people. Bear in mind, we are the original people of the earth. We were everywhere, all over the earth. People who look like us and similar. And last time I checked, A comes before B. E1B1A is the oldest DNA. Let's not forget our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, y'all. E1B1A shows up all throughout the entire Caribbean, but mostly in Haiti, Haiti, South Pacific, in Jamaica. Yes. Dominican Republic, St. Andrews. But again, it's all over the Caribbean as well, but mostly in Jamaica and Haiti. We're all the same people, y'all. We are the same people. We come from royalty, okay? Royalty, not slaves. So why don't those people in Giza have the DNA of Pharaoh? I mean, isn't that ancient Egypt over there in Giza? Isn't that what they taught us in history? That it's over on the continent of modern day Africa? So I need someone to explain to me why the so-called African Americans are the ones with the Egyptian Kemetic DNA, why all of the artifacts, the cities, the pyramids and everything were found right here in America and in the Americas. All of the artifacts, the Garden of Eden found right here in America. After all, the pyramids in modern day Africa, Giza, were actually modeled after the pyramids in America. Yes. Why? If modern day Africa is the motherland, why was everything found in America? Please help me understand that. And last but not least, why are the majority of people with Pharaoh Ramses DNA in America? Why aren't they over in modern day Africa? Why are they in America?
Now, the sisters' assertion that the ancient Egyptians had a unique genetic profile that's been largely overlooked by mainstream historians is a notion that's getting traction in the scientific community. In fact, a 2017 study published in the Journal of Archaeological Science found that the ancient Egyptians had a distinct genetic profile that was different from modern-day Africans. Now, the study, which analyzed the DNA of 166 mummies from ancient Egypt, found that the ancient Egyptians had a high frequency of the R1b haplogroup, which is commonly found in European populations than modern-day Africans. Now, this finding is consistent with the sisters' claim that the ancient Egyptians had a unique genetic profile that's not reflected in modern-day Africa. Now, the sisters' assertion that Pharaoh Ramses had a DNA profile that's identical to that of many so-called African Americans today is also supported by scientific evidence. A 2010 study published in the European Journal of Human Genetics found that Ramses' DNA was a match for the E1B1A1 haplogroup, which is commonly found in African American populations. Now, this finding is significant because it suggests that the ancient Egyptians may have had a genetic connection to the African diaspora that's not reflected in modern-day Africa. As the sister noted, this raises questions about the notion of modern-day Africa being the motherland of humanity. Now, the sisters claim that the people with ancient Kemetic DNA are actually found in America, not Africa, is also supported by some research. Now, according to a 2018 study published in the journal Science, found that many African Americans have a significant amount of ancient Egyptian DNA in their genomes, which suggests that there may have been a genetic exchange between ancient Egypt and the African diaspora. Now, I know we have been talking about this for a long time now, and this is not something new. Like the sisters' revelation that Black Americans may be indigenous to the Americas is not a new concept, but rather a continuation of a conversation that has been ongoing for years. The idea that Black Americans have a deep connection to the Americas, one that predates the transatlantic slave trade, is a notion that has been explored by scholars, researchers, and community leaders. Now, what the sister is saying makes sense, and it's a perspective that challenges the dominant narrative that has been taught for centuries. The fact that many Black Americans have ancient Kemetic DNA in their genomes, a DNA that is not commonly found in modern-day Africa, raises important questions about the origins of Black people in the Americas. Now, the sisters' question, did they brainwash us into believing that modern-day Africa is the motherland, is a pregnant one. It's a question that gets to the heart of how our understanding of history and identity has been shaped by external forces. For centuries, Black people have been told that they are African, that their ancestors come from Africa, and that Africa is their motherland. But what if this narrative is incomplete or even inaccurate? Now, the presence of ancient Kemetic DNA in Black American genomes suggests that there may be a more complex and nuanced story to tell. It's a story that challenges the idea that Black people are solely African and instead suggests that they may have a deep and abiding connection to the Americas. Now, this raises important questions about identity, culture, and history. If Black Americans are indeed indigenous to the Americas, then what does this mean for our understanding of what does this mean for their understanding of themselves and their place in the world? Like, how does it challenge the dominant narrative of African diasporic identity? And what implications does it have for relationships with Africa and the African diaspora? Now, these are questions that require careful considerations and exploration. But one thing is certain, the sisters' revelation is not just a curiosity, but a call to action. It's a call to question the status quo, to challenge the dominant narrative, and to seek out new and more understandings of the history and identity. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you, our viewers, have to say? Share your thoughts, your views, your contribution as well in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another interesting video.